2015 kinda sucked for games. I wish I could be kinder, but it's true. I mean, what happened this year? Zelda Wii U? Oh wait, nope, that got delayed. Uncharted 4? Delayed. No Man's Sky? Delayed. Star Fox Zero? Delayed. Batman Arkham Knight? So broken on PC that it should have been delayed. And the list keeps going on and on and on. But that doesn't mean that nothing good came out this year. In fact, it's quite the contrary. So since I left my video camera back in another state, it's time for my first list of 6 games that released this year that I really enjoyed. Before I start though, I want to mention that there were a lot of games that came out this year that I just didn't get to play. Rocket League, Axiom Verge, and Fallout 4 are just 3 examples of critically acclaimed games that I wanted to look at but didn't have the time or capability to play this year. I'm also not including DLC, but for what it's worth, go and play The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth and Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows. They're both incredible additions to already fantastic games. One other thing. While this list is in a specific order, I'm not going to focus on what makes one choice better than another choice, simply because it's hard to compare games that are in completely different genres, and a lot of this comes down to mere personal preference. I recommend all 6 of these games, and if you haven't played them this year, you're missing out. Number 6. So this video was originally going to be a top 5, until a fellow coworker introduced me to Mini Metro, a game that was on Steam Early Access for over a year but saw an official release a little over a month ago. No one really seems to be talking about it, but the reviews on Steam are overwhelmingly positive, and it's one of the most addictive casual gaming experiences I've had in a very long time. I can't say I'm a fan of real-time strategy. I'm told all the time how game series like Command & Conquer changed the industry, and how many indie games like Space Cam do incredible things that haven't really been seen before. But none of those games never really captivated my interest. So many real-time strategy games have a huge learning curve, and I've always preferred the easy, happy-go-lucky platforming or adventure game to the more complicated games that require a huge time commitment. That's why Mini Metro is the perfect real-time strategy game for someone like me. It's so simple but becomes so difficult and stressful over time. Essentially, you're in charge of planning a train or subway system for a major city somewhere in the world. People want to go to a certain kind of station, and it's your job to get them to that destination. Over time, more and more stations show up as your system expands, and eventually it becomes too hard to manage, and one station is overflowing with impatient people. Instead of going for realism, things are simplified to make things easy for the player. The station types are represented by shapes, and so are the passengers who want to reach said station. Each train line is a different color, and the trains are little boxes on the lines. It's such a simple system, and it's because of that simplicity that it works so well. It's a wonderful time waster, and it deserves far more attention than it's getting. Number 5. My favorite video game is Yoshi's Island. That may not surprise you, because I say it quite a lot, but it truly is an incredible video game. While it may have the best platforming mechanics of any game ever, and some incredible graphical and musical direction, I think the thing it does best is its level design. The game incentivizes exploration without making the player feel lost or overwhelmed by hiding things in really clever places. When you play through any level in the game, you have to look at every nook and cranny and wonder, is there something hidden over there? Let me go check. Literally every square inch of any Yoshi level could have a secret lurking in the shadows. But at the same time, none of the locations of the secrets ever felt cheap or unfair. It's an incredible balance. But Yoshi games have kinda sucked ever since the original came out. We got the somewhat okay Yoshi Story on the Nintendo 64, the mediocre Yoshi Topsy-Turvy on the Game Boy Advance, and that other game. In just over a year, we got 2 new Yoshi games, and while one of them was entirely forgettable, the other is a charming, beautiful game that not only puts a unique twist on the formula, it also reminded us what made Yoshi so great to begin with. There was another game that used the wool or yarn mechanic, but it works so much better for Yoshi than it ever did with Kirby. I mean, unraveling wool with Yoshi's tongue and turning it into a ball, firing wool at enemies to tie them up, it's as if this marriage was always meant to happen. But the thing that Yoshi's Woolly World does best is that it actually feels like a Yoshi game again. The other Yoshi games may have nailed the presentation aspects, but the game mechanics and level design never made the cut. Not only does this game control as well as the original Yoshi's Island, it also features some of the most unique and clever levels I've seen in a long time. Is it better than Yoshi's Island? Well, to me, no, but it's definitely quite close. And I'm positive there's people out there that like this game more, because it most certainly does meet that Yoshi standard. Anyone who enjoyed the original classic will definitely want to pick this one up. Number 4. So I'm gonna cheat hardcore on this one. A game that we all loved released on PlayStation 4 this year, but it's actually a game that was released back in 2012. It was an incredible game then, and it still is now. But you see, I don't even have a PS4. Luckily, I do have the game on the original platform it came on, and it's still an absolutely fascinating journey. Journey is the first video game I played that truly moved me. And when I say moved me, I don't mean that I sympathized with the characters or was driven by the story. No, I was the character, and the character was me. A character who could reach new heights with enough will only to have it stripped away by the unknown. A character who could be a leader or a follower. A character who faced real moments of seemingly endless bliss and true, seemingly impassable hardship. A character with his own unique story. There are no words to describe how incredible this game, this experience, this journey is like no other. No matter how much I or anyone else talks about it, the fact is the only way to experience this game is firsthand, and with the release on the new 8th generation platform, there are now more people that can do that can have their own journey. How wonderfully ironic it is that a game about perseverance continues to persevere 3 years after its original release. Journey is a game like no other, and it's a game that deserves to be honored as one of the best games of the year, every year. Number 3. So the Mario series has gotten a bit... Wait, you can make your own Mario levels? What? You can do that? I always wanted to... What? So back in 2009, I was pretty active on this website called Yo-Yo Games. The company behind the website made a program called Game Maker, which has recently become a very useful developer tool that has given us incredible games like Hotline Miami. At the time though, it was used for more amateur efforts. One of the greatest things to come out of that website was a program that let you design your own Mario adventures, complete with a level creator, a world map designer, and a bazillion different features. But Mario Builder had its problems. The builder used a very popular Mario fan game engine, the Hello engine, as a template to build everything off of. And while it's very close to feeling like Mario, it doesn't quite hit the mark. There are many times when things don't behave exactly as you might expect, but you can adapt to it over time. It was also lacking in certain features while being overabundant in others, and the fact that it was very prone to crashing didn't help. I always wanted Nintendo to make something like Mario Builder, but better, and they granted my wish here. I'm not saying that Super Mario Maker is perfect. In fact, the Mario Builder I originally played has more features than this does. But the fact that when I make a level and make a level well, it actually feels like it could be in a Mario game, that alone justifies the price. My buddy Hat-Wearing Gamer and I have been challenging each other to our levels practically since the game's release, making either challenging but fair levels or unique puzzles to try and test the other one's Mario mastery. I'll throw some of the IDs in the description if you're interested in trying some of those out. Because of this and many other factors, it's been a continuous blast over the past few months since the game came out, either stretching my creative muscles or testing my skills, and it's by far some of the greatest times I've had on my Wii U this year. But not the greatest. Number 2. I am in love with this game, and I mean that in a fully, completely sexual way. Splatoon is the most inventive multiplayer shooter game released in the past decade. That doesn't necessarily make it the best. I mean, there's a lot of shooters out there, but it's special, it's unique, it's different, and that's why I love it. This may be an overgeneralized statement, but most multiplayer shooter games feel exactly the same. Your goal is to kill as many opponents as possible. There's some combination of weapons you have at your disposal in order to do that, there's some sort of RPG leveling element that rewards people who play the game more, and there's always 8-year-olds screaming profanities whenever they die. The only way to change the shooter genre is to actually change up the formula entirely from the ground up, and Splatoon genuinely does that, even if it has some of the shooter tropes interwoven into its fabric. See, the goal of Splatoon isn't to kill as many people as possible, it's to cover the ground with as much of your ink as possible. You don't run around with that stupid Call of Duty strut, you swim in your ink like a squid. But that doesn't mean that killing your opponents isn't advantageous. After all, any time when your opponents aren't spraying their ink is time for you to get out on your turf coverage. Plus, you don't want your enemies breaking through close to your spawn area. So all this creates a really interesting dynamic. Do you focus on killing that squid that's sneaking up over here, or do you ink the turf over there? These kinds of questions don't exist in other shooter games where the goal is much more obvious. I could explain all the intricate details of Splatoon's game mechanic strategies and metagame, but I'd be here for quite a while. The game has eaten up my time like no game ever has recently. I constantly want to come back to it, and I never get sick of it. But there is one game that, while it hasn't eaten up as much time as Splatoon, gave me the best interactive experience I've partaken in this year. Number 1. There's a reason why so many people are talking about Undertale. It isn't just because the game is fun. It isn't just because its plot is moving and emotionally charged, full of twists and turns that constantly catch you off guard and keep you thinking long after completion. It isn't just because it takes inspiration from the Earthbound, Mario & Luigi, and Shin Megami Tensei games, some of the most well-received RPGs ever made. It isn't just because it has some of the funniest characters, wittiest dialogue, and most clever jokes seen in a game for years. It isn't just because it's an RPG where the game highly discourages you from killing anyone and going about normal RPG conventions and punishes you for doing so. It isn't just because it's a game about games, constantly making fun of RPG tropes and making a bold statement about what games do for people. It isn't just because it's a love letter to the classics, a reminder that the modern games that people love today wouldn't be possible if not for the innovative risk-takers that pushed gaming from mindless fun to true art. It isn't just because you can get an NPC to stack an infinite amount of hot dogs on your head. It isn't just because you pet the lesser dog and realize, oh wow, his head went up a little because he's happy, wow, that's really cute, so you pet him again and again and again, and oh my god, what is how the neck even? No. Undertale is an incredible game because it has soul, love, and heart, both the in-game kind and the in-real-life kind, and it was made at a time when game companies don't have much of that anymore. I wish I could talk about this game at nauseum, go into all the ins and outs of everything this game does right, and how every time I look into anything about this game, I find some piece of information that startles me all over again. But if I wanted to do that, I'd be talking for hours. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Oh my god, he teased the new commentary series coming next year. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for watching this. I know this is only my second video like this, but it's going to be my last one for the year. I'm thrilled that I was able to kick off this reboot, and it's been going a lot better than I thought it would. And even though I left my video camera in another state, that's not going to stop me from making videos. So, I will see you in the next one. If you haven't subscribed or anything like that, please do that if you want to be informed of future content. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it, and let me know why in the comments below. And that's basically it. There's some videos here if you want to click on them. Doing a Captain Toad commentary series if you want to watch that. And my only other video like this is a video that analyzes Mario's running mechanics throughout all of his games. And I know at the end of that video I said that there was going to be another Mario video, but that Mario video kind of got delayed because of script writing problems. So that will come eventually, but basically just don't trust me with anything I promise. Like, you know that Undertale thing I said? Don't trust me. It might not happen, but I'm fairly certain that it's going to happen. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching.